Hi, I'm Luke Searveld. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. Today we're going to talk about two 4x4 flex units. We've got the new Godox F600Bi and the Aladdin Mosaic. These are two units that are flexible, so they're not hard mats, they're flexible mats. That means you can fold them down and they can pack down for travel or just regular transportation in a much smaller form factor. But they come out to this ostensibly 4x4 size. This Mosaic is like 44 inches square, and the Godox is an actual 4 feet, so 48 inches square. They both come on frames that come with the unit. The Mosaic is a more boxy frame, so it has two layers to it, two squares that are joined together in a box, whereas the Godox is simply one square, and then you add your soft box to that. And similar to like the Intelitech or the F22 from Aperture. So what I wanted to say about a flex light here, I'm showing it in a smaller room. And if you have, say, a 600 watt cob light and you put a dome on that, that becomes quite a deep unit altogether. Here you have, say, 10, 11 inches for the actual fixture, and then depending on how you mount it, if you put the pin on it, it's another sort of 10 inches, but you could grab it with a Cardellini or something and make that much slimmer. And so here you don't have a lot of depth. So if you want to have this light where it is, this works. If you want to do this with the dome, you'd have to be opening those French doors or bringing the light further into the room and therefore changing the orientation of the light to the subject. So the nice thing about having a mat is that it fits in more locations and is a little slimmer in terms of form factor. So the flex then is another step beyond the hard mat, and that is that it breaks down and is that much more flexible in terms of transportation. This unit right out of the box, in terms of color, is pretty good. Now, it does have a diffuser. You only get one diffuser with it, similar to the Godox, and it's kind of like a full stop diffusion. And just out of the box, so often a diffusion makes it a little bit warmer. This is here, I've got it at about 5,600. I had to put it at 5,900 on the unit here. So, you know, another few hundred Kelvin to get it to be 5,600 on my meter. Just in terms of output here to my meter to camera, I've got a 2 split 2.8. On the camera, I have it at 2.8. And that feels about right. I have it at 35% on the controller here, and you know, so at 50, I would get 2.8 on my meter, but that seems a little toasty to me monitor-wise. And then if I go full bore to 100%. Here to the meter, I get a 4 on its way to a 5.8, 4 split 5.8. So here, I'll just go back to 35. And in this room, I have the shades down on the windows that are in front of me. And then I just have these windows open. So we have open sky, it's late morning, and you're just getting, you know, whatever ambience in to illuminate the background. Obviously, you could bring up other lights there. I've got a black hole there. I would move that. That's a television that's not on. And so, you know, you could do whatever you want. Say you're on the road, you have this as your main source, and then you have maybe 2 other pops, something for an edge, or a backlight, something for to bring up the background, a smack of light there as well. You know, two smaller units like aperture 60Xs or Nanolite 60Cs or Dado Neos, you know, something like that makes for a really nice travel package. Having a sort of a main source and, you know, an IntelliTech would work here as well. You know, this is an alternative 4x4, a little bit larger face, and some people prefer to have the more rectangular or square sources because it feels like a window. Other people like the domes, like the octas, like to have that, you know, circle in the eye, more beauty light kind of thing. It's just a preference. So it's nice to have both so that DPs get their choice. But I do like the form factor here where you have a unit that can fit in a space where a larger dome type setup would not work as well. Now let's put the Godox in and see how that performs. Here we've got the Godox F600Bi. To my meter, I've got 2 split 2.8, but I've had to put the unit down at 5%. Now at 5%, when I take a color reading, in order to get around 5600, I have to put this at 6200 Kelvin. Now, if I went back up to say 35, like we had the other unit, so 35, oh, okay, that's way too bright. Let's just bring it to maybe, say 20%. Okay, so there's 20. And now I take a reading and now I'm at the 6200 that I have on here. I have that on the meter. So I would have to bring this down to, so there, that's at 5500. Okay, so as I get down intensity-wise, my color is shifting. So I think that's probably a firmware deal. But anyway, you know, you've kind of seen it here. But that I think is simple math. But in terms of output, obviously, if I go to 100 on this guy, let's see, here we go. That's 8. So yeah, I've got an F8 at 100%. I'm a ghost. So they're at 5%. Yeah, more manageable. Here again, we are at 2 split 2.8, but my color, yeah, I have to bring my color up. So there, if I bring this to 6000, that's closer to 5600. All right, now here, the form factor is even slimmer. So we have 5 to 6 inches of unit, and then, you know, you have the pin out the back, but again, you could rearrange that differently with your rigging. And so this is an even smaller unit that can be tucked into even tighter spaces. I really like the frame. The folding is similar to the IntelliTech. It is kind of odd that both these units have this sort of junior pin / receiver coming out the back of it. It'd be nice to be able to put that pin in different places, you know, so you could use it as a fly swatter or something different, but you know, put a pin in it and it works. And so, yeah, I think the design, not needing 2 bungees on the corners, just one because the way they designed that, all very smart. I do like the frame very much, and it's very, you know, minimal saggage on the whole thing. Seems like with flex mats, it'd be smart to have some kind of a ridge in the middle of the mat so that you could pull that up to the frame, you know, not just the corners and the sides, but the middle. So if there a way to, you know, add structure to that, seems to me that'd be a smart play for manufacturers going forward. Here, again, I have the Mars 4K hop so that I can see the image, make it easy. And again, I'm still just using the same, you know, the time of day hasn't changed that much. I don't really have, I just have skylight coming through the blinds here, the shades, and then here open and filling out the background with regular ambient light. So that's why I've kept the f-stop smaller and to allow the background to, you know, be itself without too much extra light, and also to put it a little out of focus. So there you go. Here are my readings. The Mosaic is a full color unit and at 100% intensity burns up to 550 watts at 5600 Kelvin. The Godox is a bicolor unit and burns closer to 650 watts. Readings were taken with their OEM diffusers and grids. I'm using the controls that come with the unit. My Sekonic 800 may be the weak link. Just remember, this is 1 meter's opinion. In brackets is where I dialed the controller to get the desired Kelvin reading. A green magenta shift didn't seem to be significant in either unit. TM30 scores in the low to mid 90s is great. Low end dimming is where many units have difficulty. More and more, those scores separate out the sought after units. When you need to go to low intensity or you're doing a slow fade out, having units that don't have a noticeable change in color temperature is a big plus. Hey, this has been fun. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. I like most aspects of the build quality of this unit. It's fun to see all this competition in the FlexMat field. Each iteration will hopefully get us closer to the perfect unit.